This is the Lawless Sports Podcast. I am your host, Casey Lawless, and today was day one of the 2019 NFL Draft, and just, wow. Man, what are the stories that came out of this draft? The absolute shocks, but we're going to go through them all really quickly, and I definitely could not wait to talk about this, and I just needed to get all my thoughts out there now. So first things first, we're going to go ahead with Kyler Murray going first overall. We all knew the story of Cliff Kingsbury with him saying back when he was the coach at Texas Tech that if you were given the opportunity to have the number one pick in the NFL draft, that he would take him first overall. Now, as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, he had that opportunity and he took it. What does that mean for our friend Josh Rosen? His rookie season, just pure eye test, was atrocious, honestly. Just watching him throw the football, read through his progressions, it never looked like he had any. He was never really given the chance. The Arizona Cardinals offensive line was ranked bottom 25 in the NFL. Your number one receiving target is Larry Fitzgerald, who might as well be my grandfather's brother. It's just, I don't know. He didn't really have much help there. But what I will say is that in terms of pure eye test, he didn't get the job done, but this does mean that maybe he did enough for another team, another organization to be put on the trade block, and now possibly maybe in the right scheme, he's a guy who could possibly blossom into something better, as he will officially enter the trade block now. But, we are going to stay on the quarterback theme, but we're going to go another story straight into it is the New York Giants. Now, this is why I'm so happy and thankful that they are in the NFC East, because they just make horrible decisions year after year, and they take Daniel Jones, quarterback out of Duke, 6th overall. This guy was a low first round, high second round quarterback talent, and they took him 6th overall. Clearly they didn't listen to the first episode of my podcast with my whole 25 total viewers, but they shouldn't have taken a quarterback, and they did. And I don't know why, but they took a quarterback, and not only that, it was the wrong quarterback. Listen, what a horrible decision by general manager Dave Gettleman. I feel like that sentence at this point is just getting old. Another horrible decision. But, as a quote from Max Kellerman, a First Take that I read, which I thought was hilarious, either Daniel Jones goes into the Hall of Fame, or this decision will officially make Dave Gettleman the worst GM in Giants history, which I'm totally fine with. And I don't want you to think that I dislike Daniel Jones. I love Daniel Jones coming out of Duke. I really do. I think he has great athleticism. He has great touch on the football. He doesn't have great velocity on the football, though. Not the most powerful throwing arm. But if you watch his decisions in the red zone, the dude's he knows how to get it into the right tough spots where only his receiver can get it. Only problem with that is he trusted his arm a little bit too much, and he made very questionable decisions more often than not. But that is somebody who I actually thought I would like to see work out with Washington, the Washington Redskins. I love, their RPO, read option, fast West Coast style that Jay Gruden tries to run. I thought Daniel Jones would have been the perfect quarterback to run that system, and I definitely thought that he would fall there 100%, but New York Giants taking a leap of faith on him. But, there are just so many players who could have helped out this Giants team short-term right now more than a guy like Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is a project. He's a guy who needs talent around him. He's used to not having talent around him at Duke, used to playing around not drafted players. But you need guys to help him out, throughout, his NFL debut. But I don't know. The pick confused me, but there were just so many other options that could have helped him. For example, Josh Allen was taking the pick after Daniel Jones. Josh Allen, one of the best pass rushers in this draft. It probably went Nick Bosa, then Quinnen Williams, and then Josh Allen. You could throw Clelin Ferrell up there, but Josh Allen was definitely, I think, regarded as the second best pass rusher in this draft, and he was taking the pick after. definitely just a value play by the Jaguars, taking best available. But, enough said. Maybe even a cover corner like Greedy Williams. I mean, the best cover corner in this draft definitely would have helped out a lot more right then and there than a guy like Daniel Jones. A Devin Bush? Devin Bush, I believe, had not been taken yet. Like, Devin Bush, they do not have an existing middle linebacker. I mean, I just don't understand. Yeah, Devin Bush had not been taken yet. Devin Bush was taken, I believe, with the 10th overall pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers. An incredible pick, by the way, for them. I mean, definitely the right move for them. I mean, sadly, with Ryan Shazier and his sad injury history, and he's more than likely never coming back to the field, which is really sad to say, but yeah, Devin Bush was definitely a guy that I think that they should have taken. Even Jonah Williams, best left tackle in the draft. You need someone to protect either Eli Manning or the next Giants quarterback next year. You need a guy like that. But there was just so many choices that they could have made, so many places they should have went, so many players they should have looked at a little bit more, and they just didn't. They stuck to their guns. They saw Daniel Jones, they liked Daniel Jones, and they took Daniel Jones. And that was it. Case in point. And that's all they thought of. But what I will say is I love the pick by Washington, taking Dwayne Haskins, taking the quarterback that New York should have taken if they did want to take a quarterback, which they clearly wanted to. They took Daniel Jones, and they took the wrong one. Dwayne Haskins was the most pro-ready quarterback in this draft. He has incredible pocket presence. He makes enough plays when being rushed out of the pocket. He has that sneaky athleticism that I love to talk about. He makes all the right reads. He's able to read through his progressions. There's really just a couple of things that I find wrong with his throwing mechanics. You watch the tape, you put it on, in most games, he's throwing all arm. What I mean by that is, if you watch pro-style passers like Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, they're throwing with their whole body. Just like you were taught to throw a football when you were growing up, when you were younger, how you have to drive with your feet, and it's all about the hip movement. I don't see that with Dwayne Haskins, and that's something that scares me. It scares me, and not only is it incredibly talented, the talent that he has to be able to throw that well by throwing all arm, but it scares me long term that he's going to hurt his shoulder, hurt his arm by throwing that way, especially if he expects to get it deep down the field. And it's something that concerns me, and I personally hope that he fixes it as an NFL fan, because this is somebody who I want to see succeed in the NFL. This is somebody who I enjoyed watching in the college football season, but then again, as messed up as it sounds to say, there's a little bit percent of me that wants him to keep throwing the same way because of the Eagles fan inside of me, and I would definitely be okay with him, not fixing it and just keep throwing it the way that he's throwing it. But listen, speaking of the Philadelphia Eagles, our first round selection was Andre Dillard, great offensive tackle from Washington State. I love him. I think he's probably the second best tackle behind Jonah Williams, and the fact that we were able to get him so late is pretty remarkable and incredible. Jason Peters, he's not getting any younger magically or anything like that. We need somebody to protect Carson Wentz long term if he's going to prove that he's the franchise guy. But there are a couple of players that I definitely would have rather had. I would have loved to trade out of this pick and try to get more assets, maybe even get a player, or if not, maybe get a couple second rounds, maybe a second round next year or first round next year. Just, maybe just a little more value for this pick because I didn't see a lot. But then I noticed as the draft kept going on, there were players that haven't been picked yet who I truly loved watching. Guys like Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, the electric wide receiver. And then you got Jonathan Abram, that free safety, strong safety hybrid from Mississippi State. Guys like that who I really enjoyed watching throughout this season, who I definitely thought could make improvements, especially with Nelson Aguilar being on the trade block, or at least that's what the rumors are saying right now. They're not too sure right now where they're going. I definitely think if we took Hollywood Brown, it would have been just an absolute, yup, he's on the trade block and other teams are interested in, which they should be. He's a great player. But Jonathan Abram is someone who I really looked at, who we could get maybe even trading back a couple picks and then taking him regardless, because he's just such a great value safety in this draft. And Malcolm Jenkins is getting up there a little bit in age. He can still continue to be the leader of this defense, but I loved the fact that maybe him and McLeod could share snaps, like him and Abram possibly, or even him and Jenkins could share snaps, or maybe even play just a little bit in the box. He was great there. I mean, there's just a lot of places that we could have went in this draft, and I truly enjoyed this NFL draft. It's probably one of the most exciting NFL drafts that I've watched in a while. I mean, you had a couple guys who were, missed, such as Greedy Williams still hasn't been picked yet. Drew Lock, quarterback, still hasn't been picked yet. Jawan Taylor, offensive tackle from Florida, still hasn't been picked yet. I mean, there's a lot of great value left in this second round, and I truly see some teams going after Will Grier and Drew Lock in the second day of the draft. I mean, it's very possible. But also another pick I wanted to talk about is the New England Patriots. I mean, wow. I mean, it's almost like this guy just flew under the radar. N'Keal Harry, I mean, the wide receiver. I mean, just an incredible player, incredible pick. Hold up. Let me get the bio on him. He's just an absolute great talent. I mean, he's athletic and powerful. He ran a 4.5. I mean, the dude is a stud. He popped out on the screen when I watched him at Arizona State. Definitely a beast. New England has always known what they're doing. They've always been a step ahead of the curve. So I know this is a shorter episode, but this is just an episode that I really wanted to get out there and share my thoughts on the draft. Thank you guys so much for listening. A lot of, shocks, a lot of storytelling in this NFL draft, and I can't wait for it to continue in day 2 and day 3. All right, guys, I'll see you.